Where the wreck happened, right by this speed limit sign, as you can kind of see, still nicked up, and this yard is still torn up from last night. 2 weeks ago, Chris Williams and his girlfriend stopped at this gas station after work, just like anyone else would. Another big one is these. State Highway Patrol says no text is worth a wreck. Interestingly enough, this thing's about 133 years old. That means it was built back when President Grover Cleveland was in office. Several ways to stop it. One of them is by downloading apps like these. The last thing Matthew Chapman remembers is going through this light as it was changing, then suddenly seeing a white light. Meanwhile, they're here. There are several locals gathered at the other end of the town right now. It used to stand straight up, and these boats over here on this dock are now locked there with nowhere to go. Tons of flags and large holes like these are covering people's yards right now, and some of those holes have hit things they're not supposed to. Brushing your teeth, making ice, and drinking that tap water. They recommend you do it for about 3 minutes or so. I talked to a couple people today who say this is going to be getting shut off for them. People have been walking on and off ramps like these all weekend long, heading out to the water. Say it's a residential area, so drivers need to keep that in mind when they're driving, that there are people all around. A wave of people made their way to Zinc today for the first time, protesting hatred.
Racism that has been spread through this area for way far too long.
All hopeful of proving one point.
Even out here in your little neck of the woods where you think you don't have to, see the people that you hate, we know that hatred is here and we still don't tolerate it.
But for many living in the area, it was an unwelcome visit.
I think if they want to start trouble, they should do it in their own town. We didn't ask for them. We ain't never done nothing to them. And I don't really see what the reason for them being here.
Now, as you can see, there are dozens of people gathered here. A couple of the folks I talked to even came from Branson and Springfield for this. Meanwhile, they're here. There are several locals gathered at the other end of the town right now. Sonny Cropper was among those that made the trip from Springfield. He says the drive was worth the chance to spark conversation.
We came here open for dialogue. We want to be able to have conversations with people. And we want to be able to show people that this movement can come to a place like this and keep it peaceful the whole entire time.
One Branson man says his grandfather was in the KKK. He came to protest the hatred he learned so much about as a kid.
I mean, I was raised around a lot of hateful, spiteful, racist people, and I'm out here to try to put an end to it. My kids don't need to grow up in this. My nieces and nephews don't need to grow up in this. There is no sense for any of this.
But locals say they didn't deserve today's visit and don't one another.
Really, people just wanted to get done and go away.
But they say they're afraid another visit is right around the corner. Protesters say they're eager to come back.
He leaned up to say, "I love you." And then after I saw him get put in the ambulance, it was 3 days until I heard anything.
2 weeks ago, Chris Williams and his girlfriend stopped at this gas station after work, just like anyone else would. He left in an ambulance after taking a few bullets.
I wouldn't wish it on anyone. I saw him get shot. I called 911 immediately, wrapped the shirt around his leg to stop the bleeding.
Williams' girlfriend, Taylor Berry, described the whole thing as unreal. She remembers it all. The two entered the parking lot from the back. They were planning to rent a movie for the night, but then a car came speeding down with a driver angrily shouting and making gestures at them.
Chris kind of went out to see what was going on, see if he knew him, if something was wrong, if he could help.
Next thing Barry says she remembers is hearing the driver say,
"Do you want to wake up and see your girl again? Do you ever want to sleep next to your girl?" And then aimed it at me, and that's when Chris stepped forward.
She says her boyfriend saved her life.
I watched my boyfriend get shot twice. He took those bullets for me.
She says she's beyond grateful.
I've never seen such strength in someone, such resolve, such confidence.
But in 2 weeks, his recovery has been anything but simple. 4 operations and several injured organs later, Barry says doctors are taking each day a step at a time.
They don't really know where to go at times because people don't generally survive this.
After that night, Barry says she and her boyfriend will likely have PTSD for quite some time. She's also worried about the very place she was born and raised.
I love this town, but it's getting scary. It's not safe anymore like it used to be.
Williams will be in the hospital for at least another week, Barry says. In Springfield, I'm Michael Van Schoik. All sorts of stunts and tricks filled the skies today in Camdenton as hundreds watched below. And old-time military fighters swept down saluting our troops. One of the big things about this event is celebrating those veterans, specifically Vietnam vets, 45 years later. And today, it's been a welcome home for them.
It's just a wonderful feeling. You know, that's why I wanted to come out here today, to experience this and to see the wall. And
for families and kids, the show was a jaw-dropping experience. For many vets, it was a humbling one. And the chance to see the memorial wall so close to home brings its own emotion.
I had a couple friends that were on it. It's kind of sad to see it. Yeah, it's, I seen the one, I was on the honor flight, went to D.C.
John Bonnert also visited the Capitol on the honor flight, a touching experience.
It was a greeting that they never got before, so it was a wonderful experience.
It was.
Very healing.
Yes, it was.
While planes take off and land welcoming those vets home here today, it wasn't that way when the war ended.
Not like it is these days. It's, you weren't appreciated. That everyone is so much nicer about it, and I think appreciate what people went through for that.
Well, when we was coming home, we weren't welcomed home. They didn't welcome us.
For Vietnam veterans like John Bonnert and Gary Steen, events like today's air show serve as a reminder that they are appreciated. In Camdenton, Michael Van Schoik, KY3 News.